Hi guys, what you're going to see in this video is my conversation with FRM Part 1 students who had just finished their Part 1 exams, and many of them were in the celebration mode. Some of them were panicking, some of them were, what is the answer of this one, what is the answer of that one, kind of a situation. So I somehow managed to get few of them on a Zoom meeting, and we had a very candid conversation about how to study and tips and how the exam was and what kind of experience did they have. And the whole idea of recording this video is so that if someone is preparing for FRM Part 1 in the future, they will get to hear from people who have gone through this entire cycle and what do they feel after the exams have over. So I hope that you would find this video useful, and if you do, I'll request you to please like the video and maybe let me know on what do you think about the video, and if you found it useful. That would help us spread the word, and maybe more FRM candidates would benefit from the content. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you a series of questions just so that we kind of understand the exam format better, and then you can answer them on the chat box. Okay, so first question. In terms of level of difficulty, how was the paper today? So we'll say easy, or like moderate, or difficult. So EMD, you make a pick. Just a general rating. Don't get specific. Just answer E. Don't do EM. just make one pick. Easy, moderate, or difficult. Easy, moderate, or difficult. Just pick one of the three ratings. So there are not many people going E. Maybe you don't want to be overconfident, but we have a lot of M. Second question. How many questions were you able to finish within the allotted 4 hours comfortably? Just write down the number or say all. Yeah. So we have all. 92 all had 15 minutes left post paper. Impressive. 98, 94. Okay, so it looks like for most of you time management was not a challenge, which is a good news. All right, next question now. What was the rough breakdown of numericals, like questions which required you to use calculator versus theory? So if there were 80 numericals, 20 theory, you can say 80-20. Yeah, numericals first and theory later, by the way. Numericals first, theory later. Okay, so it's changing now. So 40, 60, 30, 70. So are you saying there were more theory questions than the number ones? Is that what you're trying to say? More theory, got it. All right, next question. Now next question is a little obvious, like I probably know the answer in advance, but I'm still going to ask it. What was more difficult, the questions that required calculations or the questions which had theory? What was more challenging, the calculation questions or the theory questions? Yeah, here we have a consensus. Yeah, almost everyone looks like it was theory. Okay. Next question. Out of the 4 subjects, which subject did you find the most challenging on the exam? Which subject did you find the most challenging? So I think here we've divided. About 40% of the people think it was book 1. Then there are few people think it was book 2. No, I think just one gentleman for book 2 it looks like. And yeah, majority is book 1. And then a couple of guys who think it's all equal. Okay. Compared to the Fintri mocks, what was the level of difficulty? Was it at par? Was it below? Or was it above on average in general? Like in general, compared to the Fintri mocks, where did you find these actual papers? Got it. Couple of guys feel it was above par, one step up. Below, okay, there's just one guy who feels below. Fintri was a little direct. Okay, one step up, below, at par, same, at par, above, same for most. Fintri was direct, par. Okay, next question. Did you find yourself well prepared for the exams in terms of like the level of preparation that we did? Did you find yourself well prepared, or you thought it was lacking? Okay, that is a good news. Yes, 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 yes. Was comfortable, thank God. This it took time to crack theory. Got it. Okay, good to know that. And now I think it's time we do a little bit of qualitative feedback. So maybe if some of you are willing to speak, just like what is your general, you should be able to unmute yourself directly. It's not a webinar, it's a meeting. So yeah, anyone who wants to speak, just unmute yourself when you're good to speak.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yeah. To be honest, I think so. I practically attended. I wanted to prepare better, so I actually had taken admission for the last batch, and I stretched it to this batch as well. So I was pretty prepared, and even in fact, in the last week, I managed to go through all the books in 1.5 days. So it was pretty good. Theory was good for me. Numbers was also pretty good. Maybe in the start I panicked a little, and then I think it was okay. But overall, from the prep perspective, it was good. Whatever we did, most of it was covered. I'll say 98% was covered, and maybe 2% was something that was little. It was not direct, to be honest. There were few concepts from multiple chapters that were tested together, so maybe you had to go through that, and that was something that was just not tested in our mocks as well. But from the sums perspective, most of the sums were like we solved in the class, or they were in the mocks, etc. So overall, I think it's good. Whatever we did was there, and if you were prepared, I think it was easy to. I hope I don't want to be overconfident, but I hope I crack it too. Also, just that maybe what we can do is we can have or what would have helped better would have been that if we would have taken some lectures on our difficulties just close to the exams, right? Like an hour at least a week. Instead of going through the chapter, if we would have gone through the chapters we have not covered in class, but we are struggling with. So I think that would have helped. But overall, it was great.
Wonderful, good. And how did you prepare, Partha? Like in terms of which books did you read? What resources did you use? Which video content?
Yeah. So first of all, when I started in May. So that time by maybe June, I was done with your videos. So after that, I didn't touch videos at all. I just touched the FRA video because I was really confused with the FRA concept. I wasn't able to, but that's it. Videos just one time, and I'd taken my own notes when I was watching videos. So that's it. Rest, I did refer to all the notes till the end. Like till one day before, I was reading through my notes that I had taken from your videos and Kaplan. I did not touch upon GAR. Initially, I did plan on, but then when you're doing or rather when you're studying from your videos and then Kaplan and then going to GAR, it's just too repetitive and I don't know, too boring for me. So I said, you know what, and plus, you know, in GAR, maybe there were one or two concepts that were different that was not mentioned in Kaplan, but I think it was not worth the time. So I just stuck to Kaplan and the notes that we had taken. That's it.
So your step one of your studies was going through the videos, and then after that, you did reading and practice.
Yeah. So basically, what I did was your videos were pretty detailed, right? So my notes were pretty detailed. Even in Kaplan, similar on the similar things that were mentioned in the videos. I had just highlighted something that's never been read before. So for me, Kaplan was just about those key highlights that I have made. I didn't go through the entire chapters at all.
Understood. Wow, very good, and very important question now. What's the plan now?
For me, I'll wait till March, and then I'm going to enroll for. Okay, now this is my plan. I might be wrong, but so I've actually got a campus placement. So I don't really know how much time you can afford when you are working towards studies. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'll put up, of course, after the result come, and I'm hoping it's going to be great. I think I'll be going for the May attempt for FRM level 2. So that I can have one session, like I said, last time I did the same thing. So again, one session with this batch that's going to be giving in December, and one with the next batch. So I have 2 sessions, and I think that helps me prepare better.
Got it. Though I didn't actually ask that. Like my question was, what's the plan for the night? Like, are you going to party or?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have plans. Last 9 months I haven't met many people, so this week is for that. But next a week later, I'm getting back to stuff.
Impressive. All right, good. All right, have fun, Partha. Yes. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Anyone else wants to speak about their experiences in general? Like, how was the paper and?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I want to thank you, sir, for your tricks, and that really helped me, sir. Like yesterday, the day before, you called a meeting and you said like first attempt formula based question, quant based. So I did that, and like in the first attempt, I attempted 15 questions and like all of the in the first go, I got the answers, and that really boosted me, sir. और बाकी जब थ्योरी देखी तो सर लगा कि कहाँ से आया. तो चारों ऑप्शन ऐसे लग रहे थे कि ये भी सही है, ये भी सही है, ये भी सही है.
Yeah.
But sir, like I gone through like many times and काफी मतलब थ्योरी मुश्किल थी, बट हाँ अगर उसको काफी डीप में पढ़ो तो वो समझ आ रहा था. तो सर फर्स्ट हाफ एन आवर में मेरे 15 क्वेश्चन हुए थे और आपने कहा था कि सर स्पीड रखना 30 पर आवर. तो सर काफी कंफ्यूजिंग था, बहुत पैनिक हो रहा था उस टाइम पे, बट ऑल आई हैड टू दिस काम माई सेल्फ. और सर बाकी आपने बोला था कि जैसे प्रोसेस पे ध्यान दो, रिजल्ट पे ध्यान मत दो. तो वो चीज़ में बार बार अपने आप को बोल रहा था कि कोई नहीं, रिजल्ट कैसे भी जाता है. आई प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर मंथ्स एंड आई हैड टू गो दिस वेल.
वाओ, गुड. एंड डिड दैट वर्क?
Yes, sir. It really worked, sir. Like I finished 20 minutes before, and the students were doing calculation. They were like panicking, and I was just cool, sitting, looking at them.
Oh, that's always a good feeling to have. And see, one good thing, like what I feel is कि exam अगर अच्छा गया ना, तो exam और result के बीच में का जो period है, like if your exam is good, then the period between the exam and the result you can really have fun in that window. But
Yes, sir.
if your exam is a little shaky, right, then the whole time you're thinking kya result aayega, then you don't have so much of fun with it. So at least
So like
you.
I'm very happy now that my exam is gone well. But now I think that I'm overconfident. But so trying to calm myself that don't think that you are done very well in the exam. That it was okay.
No, I think see, if I have to choose between being overconfident and being underconfident, I would always choose being overconfident. So, so it's a choice. You can, like, and there's a very thin wall on either side. So that's fine. See, you did what you could do, and you,
Yes,
like,
sir.
as you're saying, you put in your 100%. So that's it. Now have fun, and then once the results come out, then start worrying about your part two.
Yes, sir.
Good. कहाँ से हो आप section? Delhi से.
Yes, sir. Delhi se.
Good.
Yes, sir. I reached at 7, sir.
I know. I'm so sorry, but see, I don't know, for some reason, students have this tendency to reach late at the exam hall, and you end up losing your precious time. Like, I really hate that. So that was more of a scare. But hopefully all of you reached on time and started at time. And it's not that you reach and you start doing paper. You need a little time to cool down and get used to get comfortable in the shoe there. So hopefully
Yes, sir.
you guys reached good. Okay.
Thank you very much.
आफ्टरनून सर.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
हाँ सर, पेपर सो हुआ, बहुत बढ़िया नहीं हुआ.
Okay.
मैं एक बात ऐड करना चाहूँगा जो मेरा इस पीरियड में एक्सपीरियंस रहा. तैयारी बहुत अच्छी थी और मेरा कंसंट्रेशन ज़्यादा न्यूमेरिकल्स पे था. So
Okay.
that was my very strong area. Numerical was very strong area. But here what I found, it was a 40-60 or 35-65. The theory was 65 and this numericals were 35. It really did not go well as per my too.
Okay. And what section of theory?
Pardon, sir?
Was it like a memory based theory or was it conceptual theory?
Sir, it was in one question, whatever options were given, they had multiple concepts. So it was sometime I was narrowing down to 2 options, but not coming to the final one. So that was really good.
So you were like A और B में से कोई एक है, but A या B है समझ में नहीं आ रहा है ऐसे.
Yes, exactly. And mistake मैंने क्या करी?
हाँ.
What I was doing during the entire process, I was collecting good number of difficult questions where I was finding difficult to solve them. So what I did, I kept those questions till the last end, and 4 or 5 days before the exam, I started doing those questions. And I went into a deep frustration. I was completely frustrated, and I was not able to do anything. I have not done anything for past 12 months. Then I attended your class that day. After attending that class, I got it. No, I am doing something big mistake. I stopped everything, and I did not read anything new. And what we say, sarkari nazar se dekhna. I started doing that. Very lively I watched Kapil Sharma's show.
Good.
Just one day before the exam. So missed completely the momentum of my thought process, मेरा depression level और जो frustration था सब खत्म हुआ. I reached to a level. इससे ज़्यादा नहीं आ सकता था, लेकिन I was really struggling for that day when I was doing that. So मेरा सबसे request रहेगा कि whatever difficult questions you are putting it aside, don't keep it for the last moment. Keep revising, keep practicing in between. Last moment, if we try to solve difficult questions, it will really hit our confidence level. That is something which I have understood, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So you're saying that I think a good thing to do in the last week is maybe revise something that you already know rather than trying to do new concepts.
Yes, that also, sir. Difficult question we come across whenever we give any mock, whenever we write any question, we find some important question that we keep aside. But those questions we should keep practicing regularly. We should not keep those questions till the last end for revision. So that really, hits our confidence level.
Yeah, got it. And one more question I wanted to ask Hemanji. So you said you struggle with theory question, right? So my
Yes.
thinking, my process as a teacher is that if, for example, if someone knows how to do, let's say, delta and gamma hedge numerically, then automatically you're very strong in concepts, because numerical in terms of conceptual hierarchy to me is a step above the theory. If you know how the numbers flow, then it becomes relatively easier to handle theory, but you have to add a comprehension skill layer to it. So did you think that that was the case where numbers आते हैं तो theory question बन जाएंगे, or you thought that it was a completely different skill set?
नहीं सर, उस तरह की क्वेश्चन में प्रॉब्लम नहीं आया. प्रॉब्लम कहाँ आया, क्योंकि जो हम आपके साथ बैठ के जो भी प्रैक्टिस कर रहे थे उससे सारा कॉन्सेप्ट तो क्लियर था. न्यूमेरिकल से बेस्ड जो भी कॉन्सेप्ट आ रहे थे दैट आई वाज एबल टू आंसर. एग्जैक्टली सर, वहाँ मुझे थोड़ा स्ट्रगल करना था. अदरवाइज पेपर वाज ओवरऑल गुड.
If you have to put a number to them, what do you think would be the number of questions like that? 10?
सर मेरे को लगे अराउंड 20 से 25 होने चाहिए जिस तरह.
More than that? 20?
नहीं,
not 20.
not 20.
Not 20 at all. It has to be 5-6 questions like
10,
that.
max 10.
Max.
नहीं, आप लोग 20 क्वेश्चन ऐसे थे जहाँ मैंने स्ट्रगल किया.
हाँ, okay.
Paper सबका सेम ही था. But I think there is also this thing, right? The questions that you struggle, you tend to remember them a little more than the questions which were easier. That's a psychology. When we come out of the exam, we don't remember the ones we got easy, like once we got through easily. So I want to ask, like, did you at any point of time during the paper, did you feel ki whether this question is really that easy or is there a trick? Like, did you have that feeling?
Yes sir, totally. Sir, reaction तो ऐसा था कि कुछ तो गड़बड़ है there.
Now let me ask you a few important questions, okay? Maybe let me ask this to our Professor Saab. So question is, if you want to give advice to yourself, okay, 5 months ago, if you want to give an advice to some FRM candidate who's just starting out and wants to set preparation, like what kind of advice would you give in terms of strategy, material, mindset? Like what would be the advice to these type of people? One person at a time. We'll start with Professor Saab.
The one thing that I want to tell everybody is that revisit concepts. Even if you know it, say for example, with most of us, theory was something that we saw your videos, we were pretty sure that हाँ ठीक है ये case पता है, like LTCM पता है what it is. Now we'll answer something around it. Even CDS, we know what the concept is, but on the conceptual level, unless we don't revisit those areas, even if it is numericals like effective duration, we know the formula, but I mean we need to revisit it and see what could happen. So strategizing in terms of syllabus, 20, 30%, the bifurcation is perfect, but we need to identify what we lack with. For me, it was certainly some numericals that I always had an issue with. So I made it a point to fret over it over the last minute and go through it. So for me, one mantra would be revisit for sure. I had flags. Again, the way Partha did, I also kind of had notes wherein I saw from your videos and I made my own running notes. But the important thing that I did was, while you were talking, you were giving in a couple of examples which were really, really muscle training. So I flagged them, and when I was scanning through my notes, I had those flags, read this. So when I opened my book, I knew that out of this entire thing, this is something that will build in my muscle memory and will take care of the most of the chunk of this chapter. So those flags were really important, and the third thing that really helped me was the sticker notes that I maintained on my wall. So that were magic. I didn't realize yes, this is magic, because I was certainly not a very handy person of making sure that I'm pinning everything down, but I made a constant effort, and I the day I was really coming close to this and I couldn't spare leaves, these were certain things that could give me a glance of the entire important notes in a glance. So I didn't have to really go through my books. What I used to do was to come to my room, I used to recall concepts. I used to see the notes, okay, हाँ यहाँ पे अटक गई. So, it was very much out there. So I think you should be doing flagging, you should be revisiting, and you should be putting up your sticky notes. These are the three crux of the matter, I believe.
Okay, that's insightful. Anyone who pulled it off with a full-time job, maybe kids, and then studies, would like to share it? Like, do we have anyone like that in this group? Full-time job, kids, and maybe other responsibilities. Hectic
Hi,
work.
sir. Avinash here.
Yes, hi Avinash.
So I was doing a full-time job, and to be honest, I also had a lot of interviews going around the last 2 weeks. I'm planning for a job change, so I had almost 5 to 6 rounds of interviews in the last 2 weeks. In prior 2 weeks, so it was a little difficult to control the excitement of the new job, get yourself prepared for the exam. So there were a lot of things to be juggled. But I think yes, I'll vouch for almost all of the things that Dimple said, that the sticky notes are extremely important. Sometimes what happens is sticky notes पे सब नहीं बैठता है. So what I used to do is I used to take a page, write everything that I want to. Maybe it's more in detail than what a sticky note can accommodate. But I think, for example, something like strategies, trading strategies in options or exotic options, I think I just put them across some papers and just had it on my wall. It just did magic, and also similar to the revising strategy. I think it is really important that we revise what we already know in the last final days to keep our tempo and confidence up. Learning anything new can be very, very very difficult, and it can just tear apart every effort that we have taken so far. So I also think that we should be revising it well. What I think did not went for me is maybe that when the exams got deferred, right? I kind of just dropped the pace down, and it just pulled me back a lot. But I think I was able to pull it off. The mocks were really good. I think the reason behind me being happy today and being satisfied with the attempt is because the mocks were extremely good. They helped me to prepare very well. I tried to solve every mock twice, but at least I did 2 papers twice, and the next remaining 5 I did it once. So they were really helpful in terms of the difficult level practicing, and that's why I think even though I had lot of work to do in the last 2 weeks, but still I was able to pull it off during the exam. It was because of the mocks. I think I'll credit a lot to the mocks. For me, mocks did really well, and yes, so that's my experience.
Wonderful. But how did you? So my question to you is like, and this is something that I ask people all the time. Full-time job, and then family responsibilities, and I'm sure work pressure. How was the process during the course of the studies, like in that 5-6 months, 1 year, whatever guys that you put in? How much? Were you like very consistent? What was your timing on weekdays? What kind of timings did you have on weekends? How did you slice your week?
So during the weekdays, I made it a point that I'll give at least 2 hours a day throughout the week. Weekends, I'll keep it to 4 hours, 5 hours. But what I'll make sure that even if I don't get the time enough, I am not able to dedicate enough time, but I'll make sure that I'll cover the content that I want to, at least on that day or during that weekend. So my focus was very much on the videos, because they were so detailed, very well explained, and I could go through them multiple times if I don't understand, but that was never the case. The details, the video quality is absolutely brilliant. And that helped me to take down very good quality notes. So as everyone did, right? I also took a lot of running notes. I didn't much rely on Garb on the Garb textbooks and the Kaplan, but because because my staple diet was just the notes and the videos. Though if there is anything that I wanted to know, because as you said right in the beginning that reading is also important, that we go through the chapters and we understand. There will be few points which will not be discussed in the class, but they have to get their due attention. So then I read either Garb or Kaplan. In the beginning, I followed Garb a little, but they were just too they were just like zooming in a lot, which was not required because I had covered all that understanding in the videos. So I focused on videos, taking down my notes, and most probably Kaplan in the last part, and in the beginning Garb. So that's how my study plan was. And during my last days, I think my notes and the ones that I took from the videos were really helpful. I didn't look at Garb, I didn't look at Kaplan in my last, let's say, 30 days. But the notes that I had taken, especially for difficult topics like time series and regression, I think they were really, really good, and I think I would say better than what we have in Kaplan and Garb. They were really detailed, and I took everything from the videos, so they were really good. It helped me.
Very cool. Okay, thank you very much. Great, guys. So I think final question. I know you have post-exam excitement.
So I just have to say something. Suketu here.
Yes, hi Suketu.
Actually, this was my second attempt to FRM Part 1. Last time I was not pretty much serious about the exams, or maybe I made some very silly mistakes while actually the exam was very easy last year also, but I made very silly mistakes. So this time I ensured that I should not make such mistakes. So as you said that this was the first time that Garb had introduced the books. So what I felt was that maybe from the books of their own material, they will ask the questions. So in the early days, I was reading from Garb. But I finished all the 3 books from Garb material. But when it came to quant, I was very confused, and I was like, what should I do with the quant material? Because it was too much explanation, and everything was going bouncer to me. So then I felt maybe I'll switch to Kaplan, and then I started studying from Schwezer. क्योंकि ऐसा लग रहा है कि extra effort हो गया. I had learned from the mistakes, because as you mentioned कि past वाला जो result होता है वो repeat भी हो सकता है. तो वहाँ पे ध्यान रखना है. I remember you telling me last year. So this exam was almost 1.5 years later for me. So yeah, it was great.
But it's always good to be over prepared than under prepared. So that way, yes. I think you were good. Awesome, guys.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
sir,
Mudit. Yes, hi, Mudit.
Sir, I want to share something also.
Mudit is the Manali guy. The herb guy. He's the herbs guy.
Herbs guy. The beardo.
नहीं beard वो सब छोड़ो, बाकी herbs वाले बताओ.
सर आई वांट टू शेयर कि मैंने क्वांट्स कैसे प्रिपेयर किया. सर क्वांट्स से मैं काफी डरा रहता था, तो इवन आई फाउंड क्वांट्स वेरी इजी इन टुडेज पेपर. तो सर मैंने क्या किया था, सर मैंने बेसिक क्वांट्स का एक पूरा चार्ट बना लिया. देन आई मेक अ चार्ट ऑफ होल ऑफ रिग्रेशन. देन आई डू विद द सेम विद द टाइम सीरीज, एंड देन द कोरिलेशन एंड मॉन्टे कार्लो सिमुलेशन. तो सर उससे सर 4 चार्ट प्रिपेयर करके मेरे क्या कहते हैं इतना अच्छे कॉन्सेप्ट्स हो गए. तो सर आज एग्जाम के अंदर भी मतलब मेरे को इतना इजी लग रहा था क्वांट्स, स्पेशली क्वांट्स. थ्योरी तो ऑफ कोर्स डिफिकल्ट थी, तो क्वांट्स काफी इजी थी. तो मेरे को मैं एक एडवाइस देना चाहूंगा कि मतलब जो स्टिकी नोट्स वगैरह काफी हेल्प करते हैं. इवन आई यूज दिस टेक्निक इन CFA आल्सो, सो इट हेल्प्ड मी अ लॉट. एंड सेम विद द टाइम सीरीज.
Correct. Impressive. Good. And did the herbs help?
A lot.
Good. All right.